This is In the Arena. And now your host, Joe Paolino.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. Good morning, I'm Joe Paolino. Welcome to this week's In the Arena. We have a special member of the arena, Rebecca Weber, who is the General Manager of the Cambridge Innovation Center in the city of Providence. Who is Rebecca Weber?
Well, thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so grateful for your time. I'm glad to introduce myself and also thrilled to introduce CIC to Providence. I am a native Cranstonian, first and foremost.
Oh, so you're not one of these out-of-state people moving in?
I'm not one of these
Great.
out-of-state people moving in. Maybe my accent has transitioned a little bit, but
Okay.
I was born and raised in Cranston. I'm a public school kid from Cranston. I've been living in Providence since 2012.
And did you go to college in Rhode Island?
I didn't go to college in
Where'd
Rhode
you go?
Island. I went to Connecticut College for undergrad, and I went to the London School of Economics for graduate school.
Okay, and then you became Chief of Staff to Secretary of Commerce Stephen Pryor.
That's right.
And how long were you there?
I was with Commerce for about 2 years in total, and that represents my ongoing commitment to economic development in the state of Rhode Island and primarily in the city of Providence.
One of the big successes of the Raimondo administration is the 195 Innovation Center. And the CIC is Cambridge Innovation Center?
That's right.
Okay, why Cambridge Innovation? And you're the general manager. You run the whole ship, right?
I am the general manager of the 60,000 square feet that represents the Cambridge Innovation Center presence in Providence at 225 Dyer Street. That's right.
And what does it do?
CIC, as I'll refer to it going forward, is an organization that supports innovators of all types of industries and across the spectrum of company maturity to grow and thrive by providing office space and also an opportunity to build community through programming and collaboration within our space.
So the other day I visited the CIC. You took me on a wonderful tour.
Thank you.
And it's a beautiful building, and Brown University has a department there.
That's right.
University of Rhode Island is there.
Yes.
Even the Boston Globe is there,
That's
right? They have a little office there.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of little offices with very small cubbyholes, even telephone booths that people use and they rent. And is that the new way of shared workspace that's happening in our society today?
We think so, Joe. We certainly aspire to provide ways for entrepreneurs of all sizes and shapes, and again, across the continuum of industry and level of maturity, to open up their laptops and be successful because we take care of the back office services for these companies. CIC has been doing this for 20 years. So while the concept is new to Providence, it is certainly not new to CIC. In fact, we're the 7th site. CIC started in Cambridge, as the name would suggest. There are locations in Boston, in St. Louis, in Miami, in Philadelphia, in Rotterdam, and most recently in Providence.
The other day in the Boston Globe, there was an article about how jammed Boston is. I mean, the highway, they can't take any more cars. To go to Boston years ago, you could make it in 50 minutes. Today, it takes you an hour and 15 minutes.
That's right.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky, and many friends of mine have missed their planes when they have to fly out of Logan Airport. How is the best way for us here in Rhode Island to say, come on down, the water's fine, swim with us in Providence?
Well, as we've decided to make our lives here, Joe, I think the quality of life is first and foremost the most prominent thing that recommends Rhode Island. I would also suggest that Rhode Island, as part of this broader region, is only divided by Boston by these artificial boundaries. We've got wonderful talent here. We've got wonderful institutions here. We've probably got better restaurants here, if I might be so bold. But CIC...
No, that's truthful.
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
Especially at my mom's house.
Okay.
But CIC is representative of the fact that talent in businesses and high potential opportunities for growth don't have to migrate up to Boston or down to New York. We've planted a flag in Providence because this can be a destination for your business to grow and thrive. We offer a best-in-class facility. We offer a signal to investors that we have serial and serious entrepreneurs who are growing their businesses here. And we offer a community that is supporting not just, as I mentioned, the office space for companies to be successful, people, but the programming, the mentorship, the education, and the resources for these companies to really grow and thrive. And then age out of CIC because they've been so successful, they need more space, and hopefully stay in Rhode Island because of the networks that they've crafted while here.
What kind of businesses? It's kind of like a building of incubators, that is startup companies. Give me an idea. Give our listeners, our viewers, an idea of what kind of companies that are there.
Sure, it's an important distinction, Joe, that in fact CIC is not an incubator. We do offer these wide wraparound amenities.
You're the facilitator.
Exactly right. And we do house incubators, which is important because we support companies, again, along that continuum from early stage pre-seed startups. We offer supports and accommodate companies that might be individuals who are sole proprietors who are transitioning from their homes to a more formal office environment, and then growing companies who have recently been acquired and hope to expand in our space. Because we offer all of the back office services, and I'll explain what that means, we are a turnkey operation. And that's exciting for companies for whom real estate is not their core competency. In fact, we are providing the environment for them to be successful. And we are curating a community of like-minded innovators who support this exchange of ideas and this exchange of capacity building that makes these companies grow more rapidly and more robustly, and hopefully helps us fill our space. Because you saw, we've got 2.5 beautiful floors, and we are open for business.
Rebecca, years ago, you maybe weren't even born, Capital Center was created. And the reason why it was created in those days is because areas in the suburbs were attracting companies that needed parking and that needed large floor plates of space. And so Capital Center was created, the railroad tracks were moved, we moved the rivers, and we were able to bring in companies like American Express and others. And then there were apartments built there, and it became an extension of downtown. The old timers thought it would compete with downtown, but it really became an extension. But now I'm becoming an old timer, okay? And I have properties in downtown. And when I see what you've done, I'm saying, are you going to be competing with me? Or are you going to be an extension and complement downtown? Are big companies, law firms, going to be moving into your building, accountant firms? Or do you really want that young entrepreneur that comes out of Brown University or Rhode Island School of Design or Bryant University or University of Rhode Island or whatever, and you want them to do their startup there?
I think, Joe, complementary is what we're always aspiring to, and because collaboration is so much of what we do at CIC, we aspire to make sure that we are filling a different and hopefully a demonstrated need in the market for those small but growing companies to find a space where they have access to the resources and amenities that they need to be successful. When we think about 225 Dyer Street, where CIC Providence is located, we are very definitively a linchpin in linking the east side, and now with the beautiful new pedestrian bridge, where 195 used to be, we're now at the terminus
the
of that
$22 million
bridge.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not
right.
intimately familiar with the finances of it, but it's a beautiful piece of public infrastructure. And again, we are facilitating this degree of circulation, and whether it's Providence to Boston or it's extensions of downtown, encouraging people to migrate around our city and use our resources to the most of their potential is the most critical way that I think we can drive the embrace of Providence and a recognition that we have new ways to fulfill the needs for the new economy. And you mentioned old timers and remembering downtown. My family's from Providence too. The jewelry district is particularly significant to me. My grandfather started at Breyer Manufacturing at 225 Richmond Street. I can see that building, or what used to be that building, from my office. My dad ran a costume jewelry company for 3 decades. Right down at Dayball, we spent a lot of weekends carting jewelry, and he was at the jewelry show regularly. This is particularly significant for me to stitch together the historic legacy of Rhode Island's economic past and the prospect of economic prosperity in the future in a sustainable way. So the history is not far from the future, in my opinion.
You are one of the most enthusiastic people I've ever come across. You have, which I love, high energy, and seems that stress doesn't get at you. You get at stress.
I hope so.
Tell us some of the amenities that the CIC have that maybe some other building may not have.
Thank you for that opportunity.
Give me some ideas so I can like lift them from my own building.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, again, collaboration is the name of the game. So the more we can offer young and growing companies and even more established companies the opportunity to find success in Providence, the better, and throughout Rhode Island. When you came to visit yesterday, you saw the opportunity for companies to be welcomed by our concierge and our security team. Our building is open 24/7, so our innovators don't have to take a break. We meet them where they are as compared to them having to be accommodating of our schedule. Our concierge service, of course, is business hours. Our concierge greets visitors to our building in the open, shared portion. And the first floor and part of the second floor are an open lounge available to individuals who want to come in and take advantage of the Wi-Fi and take advantage of good conversation. We've even got an outpost of Bolt Coffee there now, Joe. So if you ever need more energy to keep up with me, we've got you covered.
Okay.
Once you migrate up to the first floor of CIC Providence, you'll find our team office. Our team, which is comprised of native Rhode Islanders and individuals new to Rhode Island, our team is an extension of our clients' teams. We take care of moving you to your new office. We take care of managing for your furniture needs and your whiteboards and
You already
other
have
supplies.
furniture there.
Furniture is provided, that's
Okay.
right. We also support your mail delivery. We help you book conference rooms. You have unlimited access to conference rooms and to those phone booths you mentioned, because our open office floor plans necessitate spaces where you can have private conversations. We also offer a fully stacked kitchen. You didn't try any of the snacks, but you're welcome to.
Okay.
And we facilitate events that, both in ways formal and informal, hope to facilitate those kinds of conversations that bring people together and inspire new and creative concepts. So that's a little bit about what we're doing at CIC Providence. In the building, we have our partners at Venture Cafe, who offer programming regularly and specifically on Thursday nights. On Thursdays between 4 and 8 p.m., Venture Cafe structures conversations for innovators, for entrepreneurs, organized around industry focuses or other topics. And it's meant to bring people together for networking and for competency building and to drive innovation and growth in Rhode Island's business community.
If somebody needs an office for a week, they come in from out of town, you need an office for a week, how much does it cost them?
Well, we're very flexible, Joe. We offer 30-day terms. So that's the minimum arrangement that you can have when you have an agreement with CIC Providence.
What about if I am a member of Cambridge in Cambridge, Massachusetts?
Absolutely.
Now, can I come in for 1 week?
You can come in for a duration. If you are a member of CIC, and even if you're a card-carrying member of CIC Providence, you have access to our entire global network of other CICs. It's the physical location as well as access to the other companies there, whether for business development or for, again, that competency building or capacity building to support your own work and progress.
You know, this is all part of the shared economy today, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's really changing. I mean, the entire economy is changing. And because costs are so expensive, people have roommates now in their homes. You're similar to WeWork, but a little bit more innovative, aren't you?
Yeah, well, we both operate on the model of shared office space, and
Right.
co-working takes on a lot of different meanings for a lot of different
So a person
companies.
at a desk next to you, you don't even know them maybe, right?
Well, that's probably not the case at CIC Providence. We take pains to make sure that we introduce our members to the other people who are sharing their space in hopes that they will find ways to collaborate or just find ways to be conscientious neighbors. Fully half of our square footage, Joe, that 60,000 square feet, that's shared resources. Whether it's the printers or whether it's the kitchens where people tend to convene, or it's the hallways or the conference rooms, all opportunities to bring people together, all opportunities to share that overhead.
How critical are the universities for the economy of the state?
Foundational. From the level of investment that they make, Joe, to the output of human capital in the form of our incredibly talented graduates, our universities are truly an engine. Without Brown's presence in the Jewelry District, I don't think that there would be a world in which CIC would locate
You
there.
wouldn't be there if Brown wasn't there.
Absolutely not.
Now, you know how Brown happened going in there? It was two people that made it happen. One was a man by the name of Jim Winokur, one of the top business people in our state, and he and Ruth Simmons together drove down there one day because somebody wanted to buy all of Jim's property. And he was on the board of trustees, I think, at that time, although we had a good relationship. And he said, Ruth, I got to show you what's happening. And he brought her down there, and they made a deal. And Ruth really made that into an opportunity for the state and for the city. And when I'm so happy that Secretary Pryor and Governor Raimondo, instead of having our college graduates leave Rhode Island for a job somewhere else, they want graduates to stay in Rhode Island. So are you seeing the Innovation Center more of an anchor to try to keep the innovative thinkers here?
We certainly hope so, and maybe even attract innovative
This
thinkers.
is not by
Joe.
accident, is it?
No, CIC tends to locate in spaces that have strong affiliations in a very close geographic proximity. And if Rhode Island's good at anything, it's close geographic proximity to bring people together. That has strong institutional relationships. I would note of our prolific colleges and universities, Brown is a wonderful partner, the Rhode Island School of Design, a wonderful partner, the University of Rhode Island, a wonderful partner, and we are looking for ways to incorporate Providence College, Rick, Johnston Wales, the Community College of Rhode Island, and beyond. We are also conscious of the presence of the hospitals with the robust research and academic medical centers in proximity, not to mention the fact that Providence affords development opportunities within the 195 district and beyond, meaning there is room to grow. That combination of institutional talent and the level of investment and consistent investment that we can expect from our colleges and universities means that Providence offers really sweeping opportunity for growth for CIC Providence.
Have you been to Worcester in downtown and see the Innovation Center
Canal
there with
District.
all the wet lab space and biotech
Sure.
space? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Do you think that could happen around Brown? Years ago, when I headed up economic development for Governor Sondland, Bill Werner, who was the dreamer and the thinker of moving the rivers in the city of Providence and moving 195, I hired him to put together a plan right where your building is in that whole 195 area. And Governor Sondland and I announced it, of trying to bring in wet lab space and biotechnology into Providence. Is that an industry that we should be chasing and getting after?
I think we need to have the infrastructure in place if we expect for that particular subset of the economy to grow and thrive in Providence.
Do you think it can?
I think it can, yes.
Okay.
And I think the question, if we build it, will they come, is being answered by the fact that the cost structure in Cambridge and in Boston is effectively unsustainable for a lot of especially smaller and growing companies. If we can offer a viable alternative, especially in concert with institutional partners like Brown or the hospitals, I think there's no reason why we couldn't expect to see that volume of activity start to migrate south. You mentioned earlier, Joe, public infrastructure north of the border is crippling, and the fact that we would have the ability to let people circulate down to Providence with greater ease, greater access to quality of life, it's a true testament to the viability of Providence as its own sustained economic engine. In fact, since we opened in August, we've already seen pretty dramatic growth among some of our clients. We have a serial and serious entrepreneur in our space who runs a company called Zumper. Zumper was acquired by a San Francisco-based company. They asked this entrepreneur to grow his business in Providence because it is so much less expensive to do it in Providence as compared to San Francisco. And because of locating at CIC Providence, he has been able to attract and retain talent in the city that may have otherwise fled up to Boston or maybe trickled down to New York. And in fact, he's grown so rapidly that he's already moved to a larger office within the last 2 months of locating at CIC Providence. That's the difference we can make.
How critical is it for us to have more train service between Boston and Providence?
I think it's absolutely mission critical in order to engender that sort of circulation, to acknowledge that we're part of this broader ecosystem. I like to joke that CIC Providence has a very Rhode Island accent, but at the same time, we are so advantaged to profit from our proximity to Boston and Cambridge. My colleagues who work at CIC centrally in Boston and Cambridge, they love finding opportunities to come down to Providence. And it is a wonderful place for them to experience the impact that a place like CIC can have on a community more broadly. But to afford companies the opportunity to allow their employees to flexibly cycle between those locations to benefit from the venture capital funding in Boston, the talent in Boston, but the quality of life in Providence, and not to mention our own specific assets like our incredible talent and like the opportunity for investment is indisputable.
Do you think quality of life is better here in Providence, in Rhode Island, than it is in Boston?
Admittedly, I've never lived in Boston, Joe, but I've lived in a lot of other places, and I know my friends from Boston anecdotally reference their shock when they think about the cost of living here and also the great restaurants here,
Right.
but also the wonderful art and culture that we have in Providence and our accessibility to the beaches and then to more natural sites points west. I think that it is a wonderful opportunity.
Years ago when I was married, I used to say that Providence should become the baby brother or baby sister to Boston in that, because there's just so much that we could connect between the two. But I've never seen anything organized to try to make that happen. It seems that we're always in competition with Boston. Number one, we can't beat Boston.
No.
So, but let's get what they don't need out there and bring it in. Give you an example. They have the Boston Celtics, but we got PC Friars and URI.
That's right. Yeah,
okay?
playing next 2 Fridays from now.
And they, well, I can say that we share the New England Patriots, even though they're in
It's true.
in Foxborough. And before they had the Boston Red Sox, we had the Pawtucket Red Sox. It's a shame that they're not going to
It's a sore
stay in Rhode
subject,
Island.
Joe. That's a sore subject for me.
But we can be a great minor league or second-tier city and be
Sure.
the best second-tier city in America, right here in the city of Providence. But transportation is critical for that, isn't it?
I agree, and no one's a prouder Providence resident than I am, and I respect the fact that we never intend to be a substitute. We will be a complement, and we will find ways to distinguish ourselves and add value.
Rebecca, what's hot?
Squash pie at Greg's, Joe. I'll be
What?
in line Wednesday. Oh yeah, squash pie.
Okay.
Squash pie at Greg's. I'll be at
Okay.
line next Wednesday picking mine up for my mom for Thanksgiving.
Okay, what's not hot?
What's not hot is my personal delinquency. I'm meant to be the Rhode Island ambassador at CIC, and I failed to secure a Fellini's Thanksgiving pizza for my team. I was too late when I called.
I'll tell you what I think's hot. Dhruv Gar. Dhruv Gar is the guy, is the young man, he's a junior at Brown University. He was on Alex Trebek's show. He was a finalist. And they took a break, and Alex Trebek told everybody how he had to go back in for chemo, that he had pancreatic cancer. And then what did this young man do? He put up a sign, "We love you, Alex." That kid then went on the Ellen DeGeneres show. He's been all over. He's gone viral on the webs, and I think he's great. And I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, what a tribute. My dad succumbed to pancreatic cancer 2.5 years ago, Joe, so it's been inspiring to see Alex's battle and a real testament to everybody's affinity for supporting people in need.
Education and being informative, I think, is very important. Let me tell you what's not hot, but I'm kind of glad for Rhode Island. Remember how we had cooler and warmer, and Secretary Pryor had to go through all that stuff, and
Yes.
Governor Raimondo, and everybody's saying cool and warmer, get rid of it. You spend too much money. Well, in South Dakota, the governor out there, Governor Kristi Noem, they came up, they spent $500,000 on, they wanted to get people off drugs. Okay? Here's what they said. Meth, we're on it. Meth, we're on it. Now they're taking the kind of criticisms that they took here in Rhode Island. That's not hot. They don't learn. Anyways, that's our show for today. I want to thank Rebecca for being with us. You're a
Thank you
great
so much.
guest. We are lucky in Rhode Island to have you doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And when you watch us on Sunday, you're in the arena too.